Hey guys, and welcome to Let's Play Rollercoaster Tycoon 3. This time I'm recording this early in the morning, so I have no idea how sleepy I will sound eventually. But then again, this is it's just like a tiny bit of a quiet episode here, honestly. I must also say that I've still been planning to actually record some other videos, but the Let's Play at the moment is just so much footage, and I've been streaming so much of this park, and even outside of my streams been working on it so much that I almost have too much footage of this that I can't handle, and now my entire hard drive is just completely full of stuff. And that's a bit of an issue at the moment. In any case, in this episode, I'm gonna work on some finishing these facades. Definitely, that's one thing. There was also a restaurant at some point, and some other stuff, some trees and planters and the usual kind of stuff. Actually, almost rounding up this area, I must say. Like, after all this stuff is done, I only really need to still do the queue and, of course, the log flume itself, which is something that I'm not really looking forward to too much. So, yeah, I was just trying to enjoy building these facades while I could. Because honestly, that's also the thing that I usually enjoy most. Now, about these facades, I actually had a tiny bit of a discussion in the comment section about what sort of theme this was, since I claimed that this entire area was the Spanish area. But while building these facades, and especially with those different wall colors, it turned out to be more of a Tuscany looking area. Which might be partly because of the fact that I've actually been in Tuscany and I actually kind of really like the scenery over there. And I just felt that that sort of look was the best thing to go with this facade right here. And actually with the restaurants sort of too, although that, I must say, the restaurant is going to look a tiny bit more Spanish. But, yeah, the entire theme of this area, I suppose, is still left to, well, quite some ambiguous imagination at this point. I almost feel as if the left side, as in coming from the entrance, well, coming from the main square, this area, on the left side you would have the Italian part of this area, and on the right side you would have the Spanish part. That's kind of how it looks. On the right side you have the Madrid-ish, big, well, facades, really big city sort of look, whereas on the right side you get the more colorful, rural facades. And I actually must say that in the end, I'm more of a fan of the latter version. They were both things that I haven't really tried before, so in any case, I'm really happy that I actually got it to somewhat work. But yeah, I think that's mainly the kind of distribution. To other park guests who don't know anything about architecture, I suppose it'll just be the Mediterranean area or something along those lines. I suppose that, you know, in the end, it's just a theme park. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. If I go to some real-life theme parks, I'm probably gonna find some inaccurate stuff, too, when it comes to architecture. In any case, I needed a bridge over here. Well, obviously, since you had to cross to the other side of that. On the other side of this, the dark grass is supposed to be the Dutch theme, maybe with a hint of Belgium over there. Maybe the left side is going to be Dutch and the right side is going to be Belgian. And on the other side of the train track, I will then have a English section, because Britain loves to be not part of mainland Europe, so they won't be part of mainland Europe. They'll be separated from the rest of the park by a train. So there you go. Well, what other thing? Wasn't England the first country to have a full train rail? I actually don't know. It could have been America too, probably. No idea. History classes with Silverette are never a good idea when I haven't revised my history in a very long time, so let's not do that. In any case, for this bridge over here, I actually tried some new stuff. There is always the good old Bridget set, which is honestly quite often used. There aren't even that many custom scenery sets when it comes to building bridges. But then again, I really feel like building bridges is something that you should do without the standard cookie cutter bridge sets. Simply because there's so many pieces that you can build them with, and taking arches that are usually meant for buildings usually actually works for bridges as well. And I don't know, I always find it fun to just experiment with new pieces and see what else you can do with them, other than the standard things that you're supposed to do with them. And it's always just great to actually see that working out and see that there's actually some new stuff that you can try. Like, this bridge is something I haven't really tried before with these pieces, but I think in the end it really came out nice. And I still don't even have the lights and the foliage and small rockwork around that, so that should work fine in the end. In any case, over here is where the work on the restaurant started. Why am I saying in any case, like every single second? This restaurant over here is basically going to be a simple-ish restaurant. I think it is somewhat of a good plan to maybe add at least one restaurant in each theme. Like you get a small restaurant that can't even handle too many guests, but you can get one in for each theme, which is obviously good for a couple of reasons. It just means that there's more space to fill. There's more buildings that you can actually have a good purpose for. I think they look pretty nice too. They're pretty fun to build. And yeah, you just need restaurants anyway. Your guests need to be able to eat something. So I just kind of see just advantages when it comes to that. That being said, this was a sort of an experimental thing, since basically there is a somewhat simple looking look to this entire style. It is a bit of a rural style, and you can't make everything look amazing by just spamming cypresses and pillars. I want to have more empty walls showing and simple roofs. You can't really add too many details to it, so for me the shape of the restaurant itself is really important, and I really wanted to get that right. And that's why in the end this restaurant turned out to not be as much as it was planning, but just trying out stuff and looking at how it looks and just kind of looking at the mass. And yeah, pretty much a bit of trial and error when it comes to the shape of the building. I think at some point I also lowered that roof. Yeah, it's pretty damn high at the moment. And just experimented with some simple balconies and stuff like that. Which I think these stucco walls, be it NYR's concrete walls or the actual Shy Guys Alpine Village stucco walls, are really amazing to sort of plan your facades with. So I just really like placing those things and just kind of do that. Place things and remove things until you get the sort of shape that you're looking for. Sort of shape that looks good and also fills up this area nicely. Because at this point I still also had no idea what I wanted to do to the right of this building. That is, to the right, looking from the perspective that it currently is. Like in front of the building there's obviously gonna be some tables, maybe a palm tree, stuff like that. But to the right of this building really didn't have any clue whatsoever, so it's always a bit hard to actually get a good building done where you're not really too aware of what's gonna happen in the surroundings of the building. And yeah, this little part of the building right next to this middle square part is something that I've struggled with for a while, like whether I wanted it to be in this shape, which was alright, but I just felt like it ended too soon. There was too much, like, right now the centerpiece of the building is really heavy when it comes to, like, its presence. It's pretty much the largest thing, and it's also the overall shape of the building, and that's something I really wanted to avoid. So I just wanted a much longer section on the side to pretty much get some mass out of there as well. So that's what was going to happen there eventually. I don't even know about the interiors yet. Like, all of this is exterior work. Like, I don't even have any interior stuff in any of the restaurants yet. That is definitely something that I'm considering to do at some point in the future. I think it would be pretty fun if I already have my buildings anyway. I don't see really the problem to just try and get some interiors done too. But for now, it's just going to be exterior stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not really going to add too much to this restaurant anyway. It's gonna be pretty simple. I always feel like, yeah, if I really want to add something else in the end, I can always do that eventually. But it just kind of turns out that that never happens really. Like, as soon as I say, alright, I'll leave this for now, I'll come back to that later, I just forget about it most of the time. So either I'll have to be remembered of that, or I have to kind of spot it in my little rounds of trying to fix some small things and add some small changes to stuff that I really wanted to do. Because at the moment I'm still not entirely sure about the tables and the way that I set up the chairs and all that. And that's also something to kind of come back to. And then there is of course the fact that I'm almost addicted to doing my paths in that, like, sort of art style-ish stuff. So eventually I ended up also adding that sort of thing underneath this roof over here, underneath that extended roof. And I know that sounds very vague, but basically I just got loads of little triangles in there and placed them, and got a little pattern over there, which I'm in the end not even so sure about how good it looks. But then again, I suppose a tiny bit of path artwork is always better than having nothing. But I must say actually that I should watch out with placing too much of the path artwork, because that might become overkill at some point in the future. I don't hope it's really going to get too bad, but it could, honestly, if I keep going the way that I'm going currently. But it shouldn't be too much of a problem, honestly, and I think it's alright. Like, the only things that I do maybe see some problems in are the things that I really haven't planned yet. Mainly the Dutch facades. I've no idea how I'm going to do the Dutch area in any way yet. Really need to get some custom scenery for that. Not just see what kind of custom scenery would work, but I am pretty damn sure that I'm gonna have to actually import some walls, as much as I don't want to do it, since there really aren't too many brick walls that really go with Dutch facades really well, let alone brick walls that actually do have those Dutch facades, like the ones on the buildings in Amsterdam, for example. That's the sort of thing that I'm looking for. And there's a couple of other problems with that as well. Like, I still need to kind of decide whether I want to go for the rural look of the Dutch area, like the little farms with wooden buildings and very small houses and windmills and all that, or whether I want to go for the more sort of cityscape Amsterdam look, or whether I want to go for both, and what I want to get in on the front, because that's basically the idea. Around the main area, around that one square, we're gonna see all sorts of building themes, but since the Dutch area is a lot more located to the back of the park, I'm just gonna add one facade on the main square, then add a tiny bit of foliage on the other side of this building, just to make sure that you don't completely break the Dutch theme, but also so you don't see any Dutch buildings in the middle of the Spanish area, since that would also be a tiny bit awkward. And yeah, I hope that that is actually going to work out in a way. And by the way, over here, I got these tables in first because I figured, right, these are some nice Victorian tables. This is the sort of stuff that I sort of like to see in Mediterranean restaurants, but in the end, it just doesn't really work out. Also turned out that these were a lot smaller than the other tables and chairs in Station Jim's gardening. I never knew that, but it turns out that these tables and chairs actually have different sizes. So these chairs don't actually go too well with these tables that I'm placing over here anyway. But I think I like the combination. They aren't completely the same. The tables don't have the Victorian look that the chairs have, but in the end it should be alright. And this was just little detail placement. That's always something that I really like to do. Just get into Station Jim's random things and place all sorts of little details. It's always fun to kind of do that. Speaking of which, I still have to work on some way to get a like menu billboard outside of the restaurant/restaurants, since that would be pretty fun. And I might also want to work, maybe see if there are any billboard banners or flags that I can place outside buildings, because I would really like to get that in, just to kind of make the park live a tiny bit more. I think it's nice and all that, but it's really almost dead and doesn't have too much of a amazing atmosphere when it really comes down to the details at the moment. So that's also something to think about in the future. In any case, that's it for this video, and you guys know that I'm terrible at outros, so I'll just see you guys later. And wait, thanks for watching, and I'll